World Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation presents Rise of the Titans live on pay-per-view, Friday, November 9th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. To order, contact your pay-per-view provider.
I'll beat your ass. Yeah. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat your ass. I'll beat him on God.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the World Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation official podcast. My name is Lee Honish. I am your host. This is the official podcast. We are a week away, November the 9th. Casper Event Center, live on pay-per-view. Just go to WBKFF.com. Get tickets for this bare knuckle extravaganza. Today we are talking about the multi-man tournament that is happening, $100,000 prize money. Today I am joined by, I don't want to get the last name wrong, Leon Mynhardt. Did I get it right?
That's right.
Ha!
That's right.
So, my first question, Leon, based on the accent, you're not from San Jose area previously.
Oh, no, I'm not.
I'm
actually from...
Go ahead.
I'm from South Africa.
So, how did you get from South Africa to Northern California?
Well, yeah, it started a long time ago in my martial arts career. I started out doing kickboxing way back, and I just ended up fighting there a lot. I went overseas a couple of times, once to Austria, and I went to Thailand a couple of times. But I always wanted to come to America. And, well, about 8 years ago, me and my friend Van, we went to Thailand together, and he actually met his wife there. We went there on like a training camp. And he met his wife there. And he ended up moving this side. So, yeah, a couple of years down the line, we talked about it, and we said, okay, let's try and get a visa for you to come and fight here in the U.S. And you're right. I came here in June this year.
It's not discussed enough, certainly on this show or anywhere else in MMA. What's kickboxing, mixed martial arts like on an international level as compared to the United States?
Like, what do you mean?
How is it? I realize that we're far more structured in the United States. We actually have commissions designed for it. But what's kickboxing or mixed martial arts like throughout the world?
Yeah, it's pretty much everywhere. It's pretty much organized. You know, the guys got their stuff straight. Only way back when I started in South Africa, it was just like local organized events, and that's where everybody starts out. Even here today, you get like amateur events. That's the platform where everybody gets to start out. And if you want to pursue a career, you eventually get to the pro leagues, and you end up fighting a bigger show, more organized events. So what happened in South Africa was there was a show called, there still is. They've pretty much grown all the time since they started. I think probably like 8 years or 9 years ago that they started. It's called EFC worldwide. And that's probably the biggest show in Africa at this moment. And I fought in there. I was the lightweight champion there for 2 years. And I got beat by a guy from Las Vegas, David Zaney. And, yeah, that was it for me. I thought, man, let me not chase this title again and look for redemption. Let me like hunt for a bigger goal, you know, maybe come to the United States and try and win the title here. And, like this opportunity came up during knuckle fighting once. And that's something I thought about. I said, okay, well, this is something that I would like to put on my CV and say that one day that I did this. And I told Elena, she was talking to the organizers and that, and I told her, yeah, put me in. I'm going for that.
It's interesting that you bring that up, and I've brought this up to almost everybody that I've interviewed. Bare knuckle fighting is unlike anything else. There's no comparison. So if we just put the standard boxing for everybody to wrap their brains around it, it's kind of like boxing without gloves, but it's got a little more clinching and holding to it. First of all, how are your hands?
Yeah.
Because I think That's the biggest factor going into this fight, because there are so many grapplers that are going into this tournament. I know this as a jiu-jitsu guy. I can't do bare knuckle fighting. Like, I can't throw a punch because my fingers are so messed up. How are your hands? How do you feel about your hands going into the fight?
My hands are pretty healthy. I've looked after them over the years because they're like basically my money makers. So, yeah, they like, my hands are tough. I can hit the back many rounds without gloves or wraps on, so my skin is pretty tough. And my hands are healthy. I don't have any. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a couple of years as well. I've gotten my blue belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But my hands are perfect. I got nothing to worry about my hands.
Yeah,
and
that's always the biggest question to me.
I think we get to wrap our wrists and our thumbs, so that's the main important part. The other part is just keeping your hands closed when you land punches.
Yeah, I constantly wonder about that. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, and I haven't been doing it very long, but much like you, the gi does unbelievably bad things to your hands. And there are guys going into this fight, and everybody seems to think that this is just like boxing without, it's almost like it's no big deal. Like, it's not a big deal. I think there are two tremendous factors, especially you going into a tournament, is going to be cutting and bleeding, and the destruction and the actual toll it's going to take on your hands.
It'll be only one fight. Then it'll happen over 3 events. So the first event, all 8 guys will fight. The second event, there would only be 2 fights, and then the final on the next event. So it'll happen over 3 events, which means it's basically 5 2-minute rounds that you got to fight, and that's it. If I win, I go on to the next event, which will be the semifinal, and if I win again, I'll go into the final. So it's not an all-in-one night. So, yeah.
No. I understand that. Yep. I understand the semantics of the tournament, and I just think that this is a really difficult way to fight. I don't think it's getting enough credit from fight fans. I don't know if it's predominantly for a boxing crowd or an MMA crowd. I think for me, as someone who's watched I've watched a lot of fighting, I'm intrigued by how people are going to react the first time they throw an overhand right and catch it on the tip of their finger, as compared to, a square shot. Your hands aren't taped up for this. There's going to be broken fingers. I believe it's going to be fairly bloody. Also, I think there's going to be a lot of cutting, and I think there's going to be a lot of blood to this event. And I realize that I do the official podcast for the World Bare Knuckle Fighting Federation, and trying to find an audience to make this fit. How do you feel? Do you think this is more towards I personally think you're almost looking at almost like a kickboxing type crowd would be most into this. I think all fight fans should be into it, don't get me wrong. I'm just wondering where the real niche lies on people that understand the intricacies of bare knuckle fighting.
Yeah, look, to me, I see it as, obviously we're allowed to clinch a little bit more than boxing, and we're allowed to do a little bit more dirty boxing on the inside. And other than that, it's basically, if you got good boxing, that's all you need. You need head movement and footwork and all of that. And there's no other stuff involved. There's no knees, there's no kicks coming at you. So, not to take anything away from MMA, but for me, this is basically just it's prize fighting, It's going to be about,
and it's a big prize. There's
power.
There's no joke about the size of the prize here.
That's why I said I'm willing to do it. That's right. That's the only reason I said, okay, I'll go for that. I mean, it's worth the gamble, man. I know I can fight. I know I can hang there and bang, and I can take a couple of shots, and I surely can give a couple. So, yeah, I'm just looking forward to it, man. It's going to be real fun for me. I like the fact that it's actually dangerous, and it like scared me a little. Like, it puts me like way back to where I started fighting, and that's how I became good. Actually, I ended up in the beginning I was very scared of fighting, and I started doing kickboxing to learn how to fight, and I eventually saw that hey, I can actually do this. I knocked a guy out in 14 seconds. And that was my go-to. That was my thing. I said I wanted to do this as a pro. I wanted to become a pro, and I've been doing it over the years. Won a couple of titles. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to this. It's something else, you know. It's something like, well, they did it way back when Boss Rutan and those guys fought in the name, where it was bare knuckle, and I don't see why it's not any different than that. Only difference is there's no kicking involved. It's only straight boxing, and yeah, it's basically you prepare the same for boxing. And like, I know I took clinch. I've done Muay Thai. I've done wrestling. I've done MMA for a very long time. I know how to fight on the inside. I know how to fight on the outside. So I'm pretty well prepared, and yeah, I think I'll be good in this one.
How do you prepare for a bare knuckle fight? I've interviewed a few of the fighters that are getting ready, a couple who have super matches. I don't think that hitting a heavy bag without gloves is correct preparation for this. I don't know what would be for throwing a full punch bare knuckle. I've only thrown taped, so I have. Like, even on the street, I'm pretty aware that I'm going to be looking to choke somebody long before I throw a punch.
Yeah, no, which makes more sense. I'll also do that in the street. But I think for self-defense, if you know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you're all set. If you get hold of somebody that doesn't know anything about grappling, you surely will beat him. But I think, like, it's not a thing like how do you prepare for bare knuckle boxing. It's just you prepare. You're going to go into a fight. It's a real thing. This guy's trying to hit you, trying to take your head off. He's trying to win the fight. Look, the rounds are a bit shorter. It's 2-minute rounds, so it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot faster paced than any other thing.
Yeah.
Like if you look at amateur boxing and amateur kickboxing, which is also short rounds, it's a lot faster than anything pro, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll just be a high-paced, quick fight. Preparation, basically, just in order to get my hands stronger, I do a lot of like grip exercises, pull-ups, hanging from bars, and just to get the hands strong, you know, the muscles around the joints and that. And yeah, just like the same way I conditioned my shins way back from Muay Thai. I used to just kick the bag every day, and eventually you don't feel the kicks on your shins anymore. If you're a newcomer to any kicking sport and you start kicking bags, it's going to hurt your shins in the beginning. After a while, your skin gets used to it, and it kind of your skin gets conditioned the same way with hands. You can hit a bag with if you go today, you've never hit in a bag. Go today, hit a heavy bag without gloves. Probably after 3-4 minutes, you're gonna lose some skin in your knuckles, which is an indication of your skin is not conditioned. And that heals up. You keep doing it. Eventually, it gets stronger. I mean, I've done Kyokushin karate in the past and Shurikan when I started, and the way we toughened our hands then was we did push-ups on our knuckles. We hit the bag without any gloves on because you fight bare knuckle, and that eventually makes your skin and your hands stronger.
How's your cardio?
Good conditioning.
How is your cardio at this point? I mean, to be politically correct, you're not a spring chicken. You've been around the sport for a while. How's your cardio at this point?
My cardio is very good. I always make sure that my fitness is up to scratch. Yeah, I surely can go the distance. No problem about that. 10 minutes is in a long time. Yeah.
Are you planning on staying